Coming up on Tech News Today, last year, Jason Howell and I were at Buzz Out Loud, made a bunch of predictions about 2010. Becky Worley was at ABC, made a bunch of predictions about 2010. So we all got together and looked at our predictions and went, wow, what were we thinking? We'll review them next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Wednesday, December 29th, 2010. Tech News Today is brought to you by MailRoute.info. MailRoute is a secure hosted service that provides enterprise-grade virus and spam filtering to companies of any size. Try it right now, absolutely free at MailRoute.info. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I am Becky Worley.
And I'm Jason Howell.
And this is not live, except for the people watching it being recorded live.
We're not here?
No.
You're right. We're actually prepping for
time
CES
travel.
right now. We are at home.
Playing Warcraft.
Getting ready for the Consumer Electronics Show, Tom.
You seem to think
hangover.
that when we're at home on holiday break, we're prepping for CES.
I don't want to know any different, gentlemen.
Anyway, if you're watching this in the podcast feed or in a live stream situation on December 29th, it's because we pre-recorded some special shows to fill in the holiday break, and this is our 2010 predictions results show, where we take ourselves to the carpet, we check our report card, find out how well we did when we made predictions. Jason Howell and I made predictions on the Buzz Out Loud predictions show at the end of last year.
And you ported that right over here.
We're checking our predictions from that show, and you made predictions.
I made it on the Good Morning America. It was a story that I did with Guy Kawasaki, and while some of them were somewhat tepid given the sort of base consumer audience, like we kind of predicted that the internet would still be around.
They're not base.
They're not base. I will not debase them with that adjective.
Base audience.
So base.
I love that.
The basic also doesn't sound quite right. The general consumer.
There you go.
General,
much better.
Gen pop. But we have some interesting thoughts, and I really look forward to hearing what y'all's predictions were.
All right. Well, I'll start with one that I got partly right. I predicted in December of last year that Apple would come out with a tablet in the summer, and it would be $899.
Wow!
It came out in the spring, so I missed. I was too late, and the starting price was $499. But the top price was $899.
Well, did you predict that it would have 3G connectivity?
I don't remember if I got that specific or not.
That was an opportunity to just pad your resume there, bud.
Yeah, no, this is about accuracy. This is taking us.
Okay.
Don't you be fudging your results.
Oh, no, I would never. I just wasn't that specific.
You dig up that GMA thing, people. Hold her feet to the fire.
I'm telling you. So you're pretty close there. $899. You had at least, you knew it was a $99 price point.
Well, at the time, everyone thought it was going to be over $1,000. So I was taking a big risk, being like, no, I think it's going to be less.
Yeah, you had to assume the way that Apple comes out with their premium items that this fabled tablet was going to be really expensive. And I think it kind of surprised people at the price point it came at.
And you'll remember that when the announcement came, Jobs seriously highlighted the price and saying how much pressure they felt to make something that was under $500. And I think that really did change people's opinion that this was only going to be for the tech elite. I mean, still it's sold gajillions. What are we at? I mean, do we know what the total numbers for iPad sales are?
No, I don't remember, but
a lot.
It's quite a bit.
It's exceeding 5 million. Let's put it that way. I think because certainly John C. Dvorak won his bet with Leo, which was that Dvorak said Leo won the bet. He said that they would sell more than 5 million, and Dvorak said no way.
And they did.
Yeah,
it became the fastest-selling product of all time, according to some analysts.
Now, you'll remember, and part of the predictions that we had in our GMA show was that the iPad, which we thought perhaps would be the iTablet. Remember the names, round robin, what it would be called?
Oh, right, yeah.
The iTablet, iPad.
The iSlate.
iSlate was a big
Slate
one.
Or the
was a-
Slate.
yeah, I remember that.
I don't know
Slate.
if it was iSlate or Slate.
Yeah, I don't know if we had the I in there, but definitely the iTablet was the runner, the leading charge, and then iPad not.
And you're not going to say you predicted iPad.
I did not, but what was a big prediction is it would be the savior of journalism. And we talked about, is this going to be the unifier
that jury's still out.
Yeah.
Well, what do we see is that, I mean, there have been some interesting things over the year, things like Flipboard.
Yep.
Which definitely did this consolidation in a visual format, almost like RSS for all of your personal and your news, and then did it in a format that really fit with the iPad's
all the
factor.
newspapers have got apps, and they're looking at ways to monetize them. Magazines want to monetize them.
Rupert Murdoch and Virgin Atlantic guy have, Richard Branson, have their iPad
with his
only.
project.
Right, project. They have their iPad-only subscription model that's coming out.
But it's too early to say if those are successful, if it will be the savior. But it's definitely being seen still as possibly the savior. That's for sure.
And the numbers that we've seen in terms of how people read on their read ebooks. You know, this was going to be the big books. Oh, books are going to get a revolution in the Apple bookstore. One prediction I know I got wrong, I didn't make it at the beginning of the year, but when the iPad came out, I was so impressed with the iPad's, the way that it looked, the sepia-toned pages in the books, iBooks.
In the iBook, yeah, the iBook
the
app.
sepia-toned pages, the color images, the ability to embed video. I thought that was going to be huge, and I thought that would nobody would ever use a Kindle reader on an iPad. Guess
No,
what?
because Amazon put a Kindle app there.
Well, and that's the thing, you didn't see that coming, but
Yeah.
also I just thought that it looked so beautiful that it would entice people to read. But what became the issue is the quality of the books in the iBook store.
Yeah, well, they don't have all the publishing deals that Amazon has. Exactly. Jason, you predicted a vulnerability exploit of Android.
That kind of an open-ended prediction.
Yeah.
Going over mine, I'm like, wow, I kind of played it safe on a lot of these.
I predict
phrased them really
someone
open.
will download a web page in 20.
But you know, there wasn't one at that point that I can remember. I'm sure someone will rush out and tell me that I'm wrong. But so it wasn't like crazy to predict that, right?
It's actually crazy that it didn't happen in a massive way.
Yeah. I mean, but there were a couple of examples of that. Actually, one very recently being reported is that there's a browser exploit in Android that allows an attacker to get to files on your SD card.
Well, and I
so
think
there are exploits.
you sort of put your finger on a trend there, which at the time, at the end of last year, we still thought of smartphones as being secure.
Yes.
As being,
Kind of
you
being
don't get
their own
viruses
sandbox.
on
Yeah,
smartphones.
not
You don't-
quite computers, but phones.
And so when you said Android was going to have an exploit, it was going out on more of a limb. I think we forget that. Whereas now we've had exploits for iOS, we've had exploits for Android, we've had viruses. They're starting to make antivirus for smartphones, and I think it seems in hindsight to be, well, of course that would move on there. But
Well, I kind of counter that assertion because I'm old school. I don't see anything being significant until it's Melissa, I love you, code red sized. I don't see anything like that
Well,
happening.
he didn't
in
say
the
a
mobile
significant
environment.
exploit.
Yes, that's what he did. He couched
that's how I
it.
played
Way
it
to go,
safe.
Howell.
Yeah, that's how I roll.
Yeah.
I went out on a big limb and said 3D TV will be the big marketing push.
Way to go, guy.
Yeah.
You really knocked that one out of the park.
But I also said, now I would you put no on this, Jason, but I think I deserve half credit if we give partial credit.
Well, you marketing push.
I
That's
said
what saves you.
I'm moving on to another one. Sorry.
Okay.
Project Natal, which we now know as Connect. I said Project Natal will launch, but be overshadowed. And
Oh, yeah.
predicting that Project Natal will launch at the time was a prediction.
You're
That was-
right. You're
because
right. I
people are
missed
like,
that.
Microsoft's not even going to come out with this. They don't even have a name for it yet.
Okay,
So I
well,
should
what
get
were you
partial
thinking?
credit
No,
for
you
saying,
should.
no, it will launch.
You absolutely
I thought
should.
it was going to be overshadowed, and people would be like, it's not that big a deal. But it's ended up being a
Turns
huge
out,
deal. Yeah.
it's a
The
big
funny
deal.
thing is, that in the moment, I think there have been a lot of naysayers who wanted to hate it. People didn't like the name at first. Then when they saw it, they were like, that's not for serious gamers. And I think that's there were people who wanted that to be true. I think what we missed in those predictions is the rise of casual gaming on phones. That seems to have grown. What did we see the stat just a few days ago? 53% in the last year. That has been
huge.
the significant growth point in gaming. And while Connect is cool and they've sold 100,000 a day since their launch, over 2.5 million in the first month, then I think you're right. It launched. It was successful. You were wrong, and we missed gaming on phones.
I think we missed it. We haven't gone through all of ours, but I don't see any of.
I'm just here to slag you off. That's the only reason I'm here. So if I come off as being negative, it's just my job.
Do you have another prediction to throw out next before we go to Jason? We're kind of going in turns.
Yeah. Let me see what I. Oh, you know what? This is an interesting one. We said with ebooks, one device will reign as the superior device, and it will kill out all of the competitors because it will become so prevalent. That has not borne out to be true.
No, it hasn't. In fact, that's almost the opposite.
Yeah.
Although the Kindle is still dominant.
Yeah, maybe we get what I get here is partial credit because one piece of software that runs on many devices is certainly dominant. There are many devices still, however.
Yeah. There are many copies, and they have a plan.
Yeah, I mean, and
Nice.
They do. I see. I've been reading with the Nook lately, and I've read with the Sony e-reader, and rarely do people have the opportunity to really vest themselves in all of the hardware, and I definitely think the Kindle is the best hardware. But I think the people who love the Nook, and it's not going away.
I'm going to give you full credit on this next one, Jason.
I'll take it.
Sticking with the ebooks, you said ebook store and iTunes.
Oh, ebook! You're going to give me full credit.
I'll give you
full
full credit
give myself partial.
I know
on
the
that.
bookstore isn't actually in iTunes per se, but I'll give you 90% for that because the bulk of that is saying, hey, Apple's going to get into the ebook business, and that was far from a certainty back then. In fact,
exactly.
Steve Jobs had said
if a patent
nobody
was
reads anymore, so we all thought you were nuts.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And there was no. I'm sure you still do. That's okay.
We do.
Yeah, there
but
was no iPad. At
but you
that
were
point.
right.
It was all speculation, and it just kind of seemed like a no-brainer to me. Just even if there wasn't an iPad, which I mean certainly boosted it up in credibility a little bit, but it just kind of seemed like in iTunes, Apple's approach with iTunes of selling digital goods, ebooks didn't seem too far behind.
Yeah, natural next step. Now, one of the things that we postulated on was, would the iPhone go to Verizon? And we weren't comfortable giving it any kind of, I think so. It was, I have no idea.
Oh, not this man.
That's
What'd you
right.
say?
I'll go ahead and pop my collar on this one. I don't ever do this.
What'd you say, Holmes?
I said the iPhone
Okay, 80s
actually
man.
doesn't make it to Verizon before year's end.
Yeah.
Balls out said.
Yeah, I went
absolutely
there.
will not.
I
Quick,
went
get
there.
that collar
I think
down.
I joined.
No, I don't like that.
I think I joined you on that, but I don't get credit for it. I was like, I'm going to be in your camp because if that worked, if you're right,
Bandwagoner.
Yeah,
I was
that's how it went down.
I said goodbye, Palm. Essentially, you will either be acquired or dead, but
Right.
Palm will not exist as an independent entity.
And you would be
I nailed that one.
correct.
Yeah.
I don't even. That was like a softball, though.
Yeah, Palm
Actually,
Pre.
it felt a little riskier at the time, but
Well, Palm Pre launched at CES in January of 2009. It was announced.
Yeah.
It launched later on in the year. It had a good debut, and then
fizzled. And it was sort of like that was the last best hope.
yeah,
And if they weren't going to make it with that, and they have since said if HP hadn't bought them, they would have been dead in the water.
Yeah.
They knew it. So
yeah.
that was the funny thing is I've said other things about Palm on podcasts before and had Palm PR people contact angrily to contradict them. That was one I never heard from them about.
Interesting.
Because I think at the time they were like,
they saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah. In fact, we hope someone acquires us. Maybe someone will listen, and they did. HP bought them.
One of my favorite, speaking of HP and other camera makers, one of my favorite lines from the piece that we did with Guy Kawasaki was, "The megapixel race is over, and we won."
Who won?
How does that work?
I think there was some sort of a point in there, basically that for consumers, it's like, well, how many megapixels does that camera have? And I think that has certainly abated to people are much more aware of the issues around optical zoom and some of the other issues with cameras. But so I think we got that because we haven't seen any huge innovations in cameras. But the one thing I missed is the megapixel race is on in your phone. We saw,
that's true.
a lot of 8 megapixel
Yes
cameras
and no.
coming out in
Although
phones.
people have finally given up on the megapixel as being their deciding factor necessarily. They've started to realize it's the sensitivity of the sensor, it's the resolution,
It's the quality
and
of
you
the
see
glass.
that with Apple really marketing the high dynamic range aspect.
Right.
Which you have real serious photo people saying, well, that's not even HDR. What they're
Right.
saying.
Right.
But they're moving more towards the type of pictures rather than the number of megapixels.
Right.
If it's over 5, At that point, it just becomes a bragging match, it seems like.
Yeah, I think, one thing I noticed from a consumer standpoint is that we're seeing sort of mega zoom cameras or cameras that have better optics in the actual physical glass. And the price points on DSLRs coming down enough that a lot of folks are going into that market slowly but surely. And then I think, it'll be interesting to see how cell phone cameras evolve in the next year, whether, we see a Carl Zeiss lens. I think we've seen that in some of, I'm not sure if has that actually been in any of the Sony Ericsson phones? They seem to have that we'll see more of that kind of branding of the optics in these cell phone cameras.
Jason, what was your Google Wave prediction?
Well,
Jay Stradamus.
Since you ask, I believe that I predicted that I think I said Google Wave will fizzle even further into obscurity and go the way of the dodo, fail.
Oh, this guy's smart.
Not quite the dodo since they open sourced
exactly.
it. But
this was very true for most of the year.
Yeah.
For a good part of the year. And then recently they've open sourced it. But I would say it was a failure for Google.
I think you get credit for that one.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Can I ask a question? Did anyone make any predictions around privacy being such a big deal this year?
No.
Okay, we failed.
Well, this year, I mean, I kind of think privacy's been a big deal every year. But
I think
what
this
are you
is the year
specifically
that privacy
thinking of?
hit the mainstream,
right.
the mainstream concern list.
You mean over like the Facebook stuff and
Google Wi-Fi Slurp.
Yeah.
A lot of those things that just sort of all seem to happen this summer where Facebook was the target, but privacy hit a real fervor. So I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts on that. So that's a fail.
I said that machine-to-machine connections will become a thing.
I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember this one when I was putting together the spreadsheet.
What the hell does that mean, Merritt?
USB to, I don't know.
No, more machine-to-machine networking, and it's exactly what we are seeing with the, now I'm blanking on the name of it, but the Wi-Fi adaptation that allows machines to talk to each other directly.
Oh, like, you don't mean...
rather than create an ad hoc network. And we're seeing a lot of wireless printing, like Chrome OS wants to do AirPrint. We also have the iOS AirPrint. So we are just barely starting to see the beginnings of that.
I thought you were talking about the Twitter scale. The
Wi-Fi Direct. Thank you, chat room. Wi-Fi Direct.
What the hell?
Yeah. So we. I think that's what I meant. Yeah, that's totally what I meant.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hello. Okay, what else were your stellar predictions? I'm fascinated by your...
I'll go with one here.
Okay, let me hear it.
I predicted that the Android App Store would pass 50,000 apps by year's end.
Wow, you killed that one.
Yeah, I kind of knocked that one out of the ballpark because I believe in November it surpassed 100,000.
All right, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. I noticed that as we've gone through yours, you've only mentioned the ones you got right.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I wasn't the one bringing up any of these.
Time's up for you, Howell.
Where did you completely fall off a cliff?
Actually, no more than 3 to 4 total Microsoft retail stores will open by year's end.
Yeah, that was that will and I will say it probably hasn't been as successful as they thought when they launched it, but according to Wikipedia, they've launched 7.
News will get out about the next generation Microsoft game system.
Yeah, nothing
I thought
there.
you were going to be right about that
unless you consider the Xbox Slim.
Hey, no, what about
Okay.
I'm going to give him credit for this, and I'm going to tell you what I think it is. He was talking about Windows Phone 7 gaming connection with Xbox 360. That's what he meant.
Yes, totally.
That's totally. I know.
You got it.
I know. Who owes me a beer? Who owes me a beer?
Google will extend its AdWords to the mobile platform as a way to subsidize their phones for the public.
Once I read this, once I read this, I was like, well, was AdWords not on mobile phones before?
They have AdMob.
They have AdMob, and they probably had that. But subsidizing anything,
you were going
any
after
phones,
the
subsidization
the
definitely did
Google
not
phone.
happen. Yeah, although that might be kind of cool.
iTunes subscription music streamed directly to the device.
No.
Really felt like that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I really thought that
is
was gonna
weird that it didn't happen. That seemed like a no-brainer.
Netflix and Twitter will be acquired.
Yeah, neither of those happened. That counts as one prediction right there, so you can't ding me twice.
Right, okay.
That was one prediction.
And data plans are about to nosedive in the same way that cell phone minute plans plummeted. Kind of the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I feel like that was a big fail.
But didn't we get all you can eat? That came in the middle of the year, right?
All you can eat plans.
Are you talking about mobile data or are you talking home?
Mobile.
Yeah, but didn't we see the data plans for the for AT&T come down to all you can eat?
No, it
Didn't
went
that
the other
happen this
way.
year?
They actually put limits on them.
You're right. We
Yeah,
I'm having a brain
unlimited.
fart.
And then they grandfathered you in if you already had an unlimited
Right.
plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what we actually now I'm spinning it. Okay, I've come back to earth. Just bear with me here. So let me think about this. Tell me your prediction again.
Data plans taking a nosedive in the same way the cell phone minute plans plummeted.
Okay, you're right. That was wrong.
Yeah, very wrong.
All right.
I'll take that.
I've also told you all the ones that I got right. Here are the ones I got wrong. Enterprise cloud services will be huge with companies like IBM and Oracle getting in to counter Google. If I had just stopped at enterprise cloud services will be huge, I would have
You'd
been
be
dead
right.
on.
Way to go,
But
John.
getting into counter Google, they really haven't done that. It's been more the other way. Google's been trying to get into enterprise. More netbook-specific versions of software.
Well,
And
as of yesterday, you're right.
I was thinking of the Intel App Store that they were talking about launching. And so I guess it's sort of true that there are more app stores and this kind of thing, but it's still not netbook specific.
That's true.
The Chrome
fact,
OS
netbook
store
kind of-
actually works on Chrome browser on any
Right.
laptop.
Yeah. And
Well, what about the apps? What about apps as being, so the Chrome App Store is being, that's software,
Yeah, but it's not specific to a netbook.
right?
It's
Right,
available.
okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
I said IBM was going to get back into hardware, and I meant consumer hardware.
Right. Yeah, I did some searching on that, and I was like, I
Nothing.
don't think so.
And I said HP will come out with a compelling IPTV box that includes cable.
I think you meant Google.
And they would have done it too if they hadn't bought Palm.
If it wasn't for you stinking kids and your dog.
I think you meant
meddling-
Logitech
meddling
and
kids.
Google.
Oh, did I say HP? I
You
totally
meant Logitech, Homer. Come on.
So there you go. We should thank our sponsor for today's show, MailRoute, at mailroute.info. Tom Johnson, friend of Leo, runs the company. He wrote Microsoft's FrontBridge, hosted exchange services, and he has developed a solution for people who run their own webmail. If you know how to edit an MX record, you can use MailRoute to stop the spam. Leo's got incredible stats. No false positives. 3.6 million of his 3.7 million messages last year were spam, and they were blocked by mailroute.info. You can sign up right on the website. If you want to go month to month, no long-term contract, it's $2 per user per month. But if you've got a smaller situation, maybe it's a family or a really small business, MailRoute has a new option just for TWiT users, which would be $33 a year, but the TWiT discounted price is $29.70 per year. That's just under $2.50 a month. So stop spam on your hosted email. Go to mailroute.info. Well, this has been good. We'll have to be a little better on it. You know what? I think this is actually a pretty good percentage for me. I got about just around 50-50 on my predictions. And I'm usually like 10%. I'm usually way under.
Are we having a prediction show?
Yes, we are. Have we had it already?
I don't believe we
My
have
brain
had it.
hurts.
No, we haven't.
Is it tomorrow?
Yes, I believe it's tomorrow or the next day, if the next day isn't a Saturday.
So you have your real predictions, like these are the ones that I'm going to get, called to the carpet on for the show that's coming up. But I want to hear y'all's crazy predictions.
Oh, I'll throw some of those in that room too.
I want to hear one.
All right, we'll give you a little tease.
I want to hear one.
This is coming from Tom because I have no preparation yet.
I know, that's why it's just
Android will outsell iPhone. And I made that prediction 2 years ago.
Already
and it was
happening.
wrong. And then it finally got true this year.
Oh, you
No,
bum.
crazy prediction for next year. Let me
Crazy.
think.
Just get crazy. Okay, I'm going to give you one while you
Okay,
think.
yeah, give me one as an example.
You know how I freak out about input output? Like that's my big thing. It's like how people interface with their gadgets is more important than people give you credit. So I see the return of the clackety-clack keyboard attached to tablets. Like that Samsung Gloria that we saw.
Gloria.
Gloria. That's the code name of this Samsung 10-inch device that has a pull-out
It's a
keyboard.
tablet, but it has a slide out.
Yeah, it has a slide-out keyboard. So we're not going to clamshell, but we're going to have some funky new keyboard replacements that are going to and there are going to be all these cases that come out for tablets that have weird keyboards, attachments. Keyboards are going to be big in 11.
All right.
That's my kooky prediction.
Keyboards are going to be big.
It's going to be a resurgence.
Okay, here's the crazy prediction, and I won't even repeat this on the prediction show because it's too crazy. I actually don't think it's true, but you need a crazy prediction. Here we go.
Against your score.
Chrome OS will come out in mid-2011 and will kill the iPad market share.
Wow.
People will realize they need an actual physical keyboard, and the Chrome OS with the new slide-out keyboard form factor behind it will show you that you can do everything in web apps that you want to do and have a keyboard and have instant on and not have to live in a restrictive ecosystem.
Whoa. Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah? This isn't getting counted against
Not counted against.
our tally,
Crazy,
right?
crazy. Go,
This is
go.
crazy talk.
Apple is going to get bought by Facebook. Huh?
Ah, you topped us all with the crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, but somebody is going to buy Twitter.
No, I don't think so. I really
think
don't.
they're a huge deal. Okay, so
They are a huge deal.
Their capitalization right now is $4 billion, and Groupon said no to $6 billion from Google. No way. I think Groupon starts to go pets.com, man. I think they fall off
Everyone
a cliff.
said that about Facebook when they turned down Yahoo's money.
No.
And look at that.
Yeah, but I just say I'm calling it. I think Groupon goes
the
pets.com
trend
and
these
somebody buys
days,
Twitter.
people are looking at Facebook, and that's the new hip thing to do. Is like, you know what? I'm not going to cash in. I'm going to turn my business when it's going well into a huge business. I think Twitter starts to add things. They start to diversify. They start to spread out and
follow
become
the
more
Facebook
than just a
model.
140 message service.
So I'm just going to go deep here. So does that mean that Dig pulls itself back?
I don't know. We should save this for the prediction show.
Okay,
Now
all
we're
right.
getting all predictive.
Leave them wanting more.
Always
I'm
leave
starting
them
to get
wanting.
serious.
I know. This
know,
is
exactly.
good. This is
Well,
really
the prediction
good.
show is going to be good.
Oh, I know, Holmes.
All right. Thanks, everybody. You can catch all of our holiday episodes in the feed. You can get that at twit.tv/TNT. We'll be back with live episodes on January 3rd. Am I right with that?
Something like that.
I got something
We'll
like
be
that.
back in the new year.
That's
We'll
right.
be back. We'll be back Monday, January 3rd with live episodes. And then we go off to CES. So check us out then. Twit.tv/TNT. We'll see you then.
Bye.